Dr. Zethkari's tentacles trembled as she reviewed the neural mapping data for the third time. The Velthian scientist had spent the better part of 2 cycles analyzing the human subject's pain responses, but the results defied every established principle of xenobiology she knew. Impossible, she whispered through her breathing slits, her lavender skin shifting to a pale gray, a sign of deep distress among her species. The human sat motionless in the scanning chamber, electrodes attached to his skull, seemingly unaware that he had just shattered the Galactic Consortium's understanding of suffering itself. Subject designation H7749, known to his species as Marcus Chen, was a volunteer from Earth's diplomatic corps. What should have been a routine pain threshold study had become something far more disturbing. Zethkari's research partner, the crystalline being known as Resonance of Deep Thought, chimed softly beside her. The patterns are consistent across all 17 human subjects. This is not an anomaly. The data was clear and terrifying. When subjected to controlled pain stimuli, human neural pathways didn't simply register the sensation and seek to avoid it like every other sapient species in the galaxy. Instead, something ancient awakened in their minds, pathways that seemed to predate civilization itself, carved deep into their genetic memory. Look at this. Zethkari manipulated the holographic display, highlighting sections of Marcus's brain activity. When we applied the thermal stimulus to simulate a burn, his pain centers activated normally. But then, she zoomed in on a cluster of neural activity in the deepest regions of the human brain. These areas lit up, areas that our xenobiological databases can't even classify. Resonance of Deep Thought's crystalline form pulsed with concern. Those pathways, they're not just processing pain, they're weaponizing it. The implications were staggering. Every species the consortium had studied experienced pain as a warning system, a biological imperative to avoid damage and preserve life. But humans were different. Pain for them was also a tool. Zethkari pulled up the combat simulation data from their previous experiments. Remember when we tested human soldiers in virtual battle scenarios? We thought their ability to function through injury was simply superior adrenaline production. We were wrong. The recordings showed human warriors not just enduring devastating wounds, but somehow drawing strength from them. Their pain wasn't shutting down their systems, it was fueling them. The deeper the hurt, the more dangerous they became. There's more. Resonance of Deep Thought chimed, his tone carrying harmonics of fear. I've been analyzing their historical records. Wars, gladiatorial combat, extreme sports, even their entertainment media. They don't just endure suffering, they seek it out. Zethkari's skin shifted to deep purple as she accessed the human database. Images flashed before her, ancient humans running impossible distances through searing heat, warriors fighting on despite fatal wounds, athletes pushing their bodies beyond the breaking point, and artists creating their greatest works in the depths of emotional agony. Their literature, she breathed, their music, their art, so much of it is born from pain. They transmute suffering into beauty, into strength, into weapons. The scanning chamber's alert system activated as Marcus began to stir. The sedation was wearing off and his vitals were normalizing. But Zethkari noticed something that made her genetic memory scream warnings of predator species. His pain responses had created new neural pathways during the experiment. His brain had adapted in real time, learning to process agony more efficiently. Marcus opened his eyes and smiled at the alien scientists. How did it go, docs? Zethkari struggled to maintain her composure. This human had just endured pain levels that would have killed most consortium species, and he was asking about their research with genuine curiosity. No fear, no resentment, just an almost innocent desire to help. The data was very informative, she managed. As Marcus was led away by the medical staff, Resonance of Deep Thought began compiling their findings. We need to alert the consortium immediately. These humans aren't just another sapient species. They're evolved survivors of something we can't comprehend. Zethkari nodded, her tentacles still trembling. Their research had uncovered the truth about humanity's greatest secret. They were descendants of a world that had tried to break them for millions of years. Earth hadn't just been their cradle, it had been their forge. Ice ages, volcanic winters, predators that hunted them across continents, diseases that should have wiped them out, natural disasters that reshuffled entire ecosystems, and through it all, early humans had not just survived, They had learned to thrive on adversity itself. Their planet tried to kill them for eons, Zethkari realized aloud, and instead of breaking them, it made them into this. The neural pathways they'd discovered weren't just biological quirks. They were evolutionary adaptations to suffering that no other species had needed to develop. Humans had been forged in a crucible of endless pain, and somewhere along the way they had learned to make it their ally. What concerns me most, resonance of deep thought chimed ominously, is that they don't seem to know what they are. They think this is normal. Zethkari initiated the emergency protocols to seal their research. The Galactic Consortium would need to reconsider everything about humanity. They weren't dealing with another civilized species seeking peaceful coexistence. They were dealing with survivors of hell itself, creatures who had looked into the abyss of suffering and emerged not broken, but strengthened. And the most terrifying part was that humans genuinely believed everyone else was just like them. As the laboratory sealed and encrypted their findings, one thought echoed through both scientists' minds. What kind of universe had created a species that could transform agony into power? The answer, they feared, was one far darker than they had ever imagined.